Well, it's that time of year once again. WrestleMania. I know everybody gets too excited for that because it's like the Super Bowl of wrestling. And I mean, it is basically like the Super Bowl. But for today's episode, we're just going to focus on night one and Stand and Deliver. We know we have from both shows title matches, special matches that are taking place. So we will see how things go in both shows. And then we'll leave the rest until then. But first things first, I want to apologize to those. As you know, we did had AEW Collision and New Japan Sakura Genesis. Now, I was unable to do those due to the fact of my regular day job, but I'm not pointing the finger at anybody's fault. Basically, I couldn't keep up because I wanted to get this out of the way for all of you. But I will put AEW Collision and, of course, Sakura Genesis on the next episode. So, right now, let's just focus on WrestleMania and Stand and Deliver. So, let's get ready for another episode of the Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Welcome everybody to the Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, Gerard here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel where we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK, anywhere where pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also do more news updates. If I'm unable to put it on this episode, I can put it on a separate video by itself. We also do real time news updates to keep you guys on alert if anything has happened in the world of pro wrestling that needs to be addressed. We also do the Unagi Sayaka Watch and various other cool things as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us. So click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool stuff on this channel as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or a nice comment in the description down below. Now, all introductions are set aside, and one last thing I failed to mention at the start of this video. We do have a bit of some news updates for all of you, so I will do that at the end of this episode before we end it, okay? So, let's get started with our very first review, NXT Stand and Deliver. Okay, Stand and Deliver. As you know, it's going to be an awesome time. Now, normally we don't do the kickoff match, but however, let's just do that. It started with Shawn Spears versus Joe Gacy. Now, if you guys want to recap, how do we got here? Simple. Joe Gacy's been, as you know, when it comes to wrestlers coming his way, Shawn Spears was one of those guys that he was watching. And of course, Shawn Spears says that he was on his radar and all this and that. Now, before the bell rung, Rich Holland attacked Joe Gacy with the chair. I don't know what was the purpose. I'm sure Shawn Spears was a bit of surprise, but nonetheless, you would have think that this would have played an advantage in his favor because of this attack. Well, you could say it did not take any effect no matter what. But it was Joe Gacy that was able to turn it around when he applied the upside down, and just like that, it was over. So basically, that's how we start the entire pre show. But let's get started with the main matches on the main card. Now, as always, Metaphor decided to become the host of the entirety of the entire NXT, the Stand and Deliver. But there was a moment in the entire thing where they he got in the face of Tehel, and she put him in the Kimura lock. So, well, that's what Noam Dar deserves for being a dickhead. So we'll see about that. Now, our first match is the first of our championship matches, the NXT Tag Team titles. As you know, Nathan Frazier and Axiom won the tournament to be part of this, to be the number one contenders. But will their speed be the main factor to defeat the unstoppable of Baron Corbin and Braun Breaker? You would think it would have given them enough time to try to find ways to take them out. No, but the cohesion between Baron Corbin and Braun Breaker has grown significantly, allowed them to finish the job. But it was Braun Breaker that speared um, Frazier, and of course, Baron Corbin was the one that picked up the win by pinning him. And 1, 2, 3, just like that, both Corbin and Breaker retained their tag titles. Now, our next match. This is another championship match. This is for the North American title in a three-way match. We have Dijak versus Josh Briggs versus Oba Femi. Now, ever since Oba Femi has become champion, he's been getting enemies left and right. So wherever he's at, Josh Briggs made it. He wanted to take a shot at him due to the fact after what happened to Brooks Jensen. Dijak, on the other hand, who believes that Oba Femi is not the rightful guy as a champion, who he has his own opinion. Now, many fans believe that Dijak should have been is the fan favorite to win this one, but however, in three ways, it causes a lot of things that go haywire. However, there was a moment where Dijak could have won this match if it wasn't for Josh Briggs to pulling the ref, causing Dijak to not win this one. But luckily, it was a sweet power bomb by Obafemi onto Dijak and tossed him down to Josh Briggs, and pinning Briggs 1, 2, 3. He retained the North American title. Now, our next match, we have a 6-woman tag team match. Izzy Dane, uh, Kiana James, and of course, Jay-Z Jane versus Fallon Henley, Kehlani Jordan, and Tehel. Now, why is this match important? It's simple. Izzy Dane and Jay-Z and Kiara James are sick and tired of the newbies who have been declared as the future of NXT. So they tried to stonewall them, and their target was, of course, um, Kehlani Jordan, and luckily for her, she has a friend, Fallon Henley, to help her. But Fallon Henley also became friends with Tehel after she's been dealing with the negativity towards Jay-Z Jane, who she thought was her friend. Turned out she was never her friend. And that's how we ended things. But it was a pretty interesting match. But of course, since Jasmine Nix has been put to the sideline thanks to Tehel, you probably would assume it would have been her help. Luckily, Chase U was there to support Tehel. But luckily for her, she was able to apply a Kimura lock onto, of course, Izzy Dane, forcing her to tap. And of course, the obvious question to me when I watch these type of storylines, I ask, is this over between Jay-Z Jane and Tehel? Most likely it's not, but we'll see where that leads. Now, a very interesting news has came around from our general manager, Ava. Apparently, because we have of North America, as you know, the women's division in NXT has been continued to grow, they decided to add another title. And that title is the NXT Women's North American title. I thought it was a very interesting thing. I mean, we've been seeing that with certain companies, with that. But it wouldn't make sense. I mean, we did have, of course, the ROH Women's World title that took place in ROH. I don't know if they got that from them or they just thought of the idea. I don't know. That's something I just completely don't know. But it's a good thing to get the women's division try an NXT back. I say they should get the NXT Women's Tag Team titles back. I mean, what the hell are they waiting for? Now, now, before our start of our next championship match, which is the NXT Women's title, we had a surprise visit and, of course, appearance, and we were self-aware that she was going to be there. We're talking about Giulia. As you know, she is no longer with Stardom. She was right next to William Regal and Rossi Ogawa. So we will talk about her on our news updates till we get there. Now, our women's championship match: Roxanne Perez versus Leo Vaquera. Now, Leo Vaquera is not 100% after what Roxanne Perez did to her when she broke her arm. Now, basically, what was been going on, Roxanne Perez has felt that she has been robbed from her title. As you know, she did not lose it after that. If you guys remember, she was in that one moment where she collapsed and the title had to be vacant, and she lost the belt to Indy Hartwell, and then she's been trying to get it back ever since then. However, she felt that it should have been her to give back the belt because she never lost it. She's been unhinged. And you would have assumed that Leo Vaquera, who's been very, very strong and very capable of defending the belt, would have been capable of retaining it. But no, Roxanne Perez overturned it by applying the crossface, and just like that, she becomes our brand new NXT Women's Champion. However, there was a moment someone also paused it, and I kind of put it on social media, and of course I saw it too on the X account. Um, Julie seems like she was unimpressed. I don't know what it is, but Julie has different opinions. But it would be interesting to see her. So we'll see. Now our next match we have the NXT Championship match: Tony D'Angelo versus Dazar Ilya Dragunov. This match was brutal. I mean, you would have assumed. Now we have seen Dragunov. He has been always sacrificing his own body, taking things to extreme to ensure he does not lose. But Tony D'Angelo was 100% confident to believe that Dragunov will lose. But Dragunov did told him he will find a way. But the question is how? And that opening happened. Now, as you know, D'Angelo has the entire family, Luca Crisafino, Stax, and Andrea. However, Stax gave him the knuckles in order to see if in order to do so. I think it was a mistake on his part not to do. I mean, he would have taken the advantage, but of course, the Dragunov used that in his favor to put him down, and then he applied the torpedo Moscow, and then a super H bomb, and just like that, he just retained his belt. Now, Lyra Valkyria, as you know, was disappointed after losing the match to Roxanne Perez. Tatum Pixley tried to talk to her, but Valkyria was not having it, so she walked away. We did a little interesting video promo package from Javon Evans. It appears he's coming to NXT. So I didn't expect him to show up this soon, but I can't wait. Now our main event is two friends who were like brothers and best friends, now turned enemies. We're talking about Carmelo Hayes versus Trick Williams. Now, how did we get here to begin with? Now let's do a little quick recap how that happened. When Trick Williams announced that he will be part of a four-way match to the number one contendership against Dragunov for the NXT title, someone attacked Trick Williams, and the primary suspect was in fact Carmelo Hayes. But later, apparently, there was manipulations that have been going on. Lexus King, who tried to take credit for something he didn't do, he decided, that he told him I had nothing to do with it. But later, it was foreturned that after Trick Williams lost to Dragunov, it was Carmelo Hayes that did it. And that's how it got here. Hayes felt that Trick Williams should have proceeded for the North American title, but Trick decided, to follow his own gut. And that's exactly how we got here. But Hayes was determined to put him down once and for all, which it did not. But there was a moment we did see in the match. The referee was out. Melo tried to use the chair. It did not work, And then later, of course, we did see a low blow. That did not work either in Hayes' situation. But it was the Trick knee that did the trick to put down Hayes, giving Trick Williams the advantage, and he wins the night. So the obvious question we ask ourselves: where do we go from here? There's two things: Trick Williams can proceed for a championship match, or is this thing between him and Carmelo Hayes done? Because of course, we could see Hayes making his way to the main roster. Who knows? But we will see what happens until then. But for right now, I think we're done with Stand and Deliver. Let's go with night one of WrestleMania. Okay, WrestleMania night one. I know this is one I think many of you probably were anticipated. So this is what we're gonna how it started. It started with Triple H making his way, telling everybody welcome. And I think this is the first time I think in a long time there's no Vince McMahon involved in this one. I mean, we can agree upon that. But nonetheless, I'm sure it was going to be a good show. Now, we opened up with our very first title match, and that is, of course, for WWE Women's World Title. Becky Lynch, the man, versus Rhea Ripley. So the obvious question is, can Becky Lynch actually pull off another win? I mean, sure, we have seen Rhea Ripley how dominant she can be, of course, and you would have assumed that the man who's been at the top of the mountain countless time would have found a way to do that. Well, unfortunately, it didn't do any well for her because she ended up on the wrong side of the riptide, and just like that, Rhea Ripley retained the belt. But now the question does remain, who will be the one to dethrone her? That's going to be a very, very interesting thing to see down the line. So we just got to wait and see. Now, our next match is for the undisputed WWE Tag Team titles in a what they call a six-pack ladder match. So, six tag teams were chosen to be part of this thing. We have DIY, consistent of Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. We have Awesome Truth, R-Truth, and The Miz. We have New Catch Republic, consistent of Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate. Then, of course, we have the A Town Down Under, consistent of what's his name, Grayson Waller and Austin Theory. Uh, we even have the New Day as well, and then, of course, Judgment Day. Now, you know perfectly well the Judgment Day will stop at nothing to ensure these belts do not leave their possessions. That is something that has been highly clear. But there was a lot of plunder that was legal to use. I mean, the latter, you can use it as a weapon as much as possible. But one thing that was interesting is when we saw uh, DOY and Awesome Truth, they were right in front of each other. Uh, what's his name? Truth came up with the solution. He said, "Hey guys, you guys grab the Raw titles while we grab the SmackDown titles." So I was like, "Okay, is a fair assessment. Why not divide them in half? That way they each walk away with a title in their possession." I mean, smart move, but of course that was halted until A Town Down Under, Waller and Theory obtained the SmackDown titles. I'm like, dang, that's gonna be difficult. But the real question is who is going to walk away with the next one. That it was something that was very interesting. I mean, I'm sure everybody were trying to take each other out as possible. But in the end, it was, of course, Awesome Truth who walked away. Thanks to Truth, who actually pulled off the win, pulling down the Raw Tag Team titles, becoming our brand new Raw Tag Team champions. So now the titles are divided. So A Town Down Under are now the current WWE SmackDown Tag Team champions, while Awesome Truth are the WWE Raw Tag Team champions. So we'll see how this rolls up. I think many of us were wondering if those belts will ever going to be separated. Well, it looks like it has. Now, our next match, we have a very interesting, how do I say, tag team. Santos Escobar teaming up with Dominic Mysterio. They take on Andrade and Rey Mysterio. Now, initially, Dragon Lee was supposed to be in this match, but suddenly attacked them. Nobody knows. But Andrade actually showed up on SmackDown, and apparently he thought he was on the side of Dominic Mysterio, and apparently it did not go exactly in Dom's way, so that kind of ruined it. So Ray thought, how about Andrade become his tag partner, which was very interesting. And of course, things got out of control at some point with Elektra Lopez being on the outside. Selena Vega actually took her out. Then, of course, the rest of the LWO took out Legado del Fantasma in order to to make sure that everything is all clear. But there were a lot of things that happened. Now, of course, there was going to be coming tactics from everybody to. Sorry, that's my brother's dog. Anyway, there were going to be some tactics from Santos and Dom. However, it did not go according to plan because two guys in luchador mask, more specifically Rey Mysterio's mask, showed up and helped Rey Mysterio and Andrade. Can you stop it? Sorry. So basically, they helped them, but they did not do anything to interfere. They just stopped Dom from causing the problem. But it was Rey Mysterio who picked up the win with the splash onto Santos, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. However, it was later revealed after the match who were these masked men were. Well, is it Philadelphia's Eagles, Lane Johnson and Jason Kelser. It was very interesting that they showed up to help out. I'm sure right now at this point, um, Santos and Dom are not happy. So give me a minute. Bueno, bueno. Okay, I'll check. Yes. Okay. All right. Bye. I'll do that later. Sorry about that. Anyway, so that's how it ends. Now, our next match, we have the two brothers, Jay Uso and Jimmy Uso. So, as you know, when Jay broke away from the bloodline, he decided to go on their own. But every opportunity he's ever had in order to go out the top was, how do I say, intervened by his own brother. So that's where this match leads. So basically, it's more like Jimmy felt, you betrayed me, so I'm going to stop you in every corner. But Jay is determined to go up to the top. And you know this match was going to be very, very interesting. Now, I know many people have often said we could have seen this with Cody and his brother Dustin. Well, Vince didn't believe in it. Well, screw him for that. So anyway, the match was pretty good, but it was, of course, Jey Uso with the Uso splash onto Jimmy, and just like that, Jay won. So the question does tell, is this really over between these two with their feud? Well, that is something we will see down the line. Our next match, we have Damage Control, consisting of Dakota Kai, Kairi Sane, and Asuka taking on a very interesting team that was formed: Jade Cargill, Naomi, and Bianca Belair. Now, as you know, we have been seeing, of course, Damage Control being Damage Control as always, without Bailey and causing all this fuzz. Bianca Belair found some friends that will help her to get their hands on them, and I thought the match was pretty good. But I think many fans were probably impressed with Jade being part of this, and of course she got her first WrestleMania timing, and it did work. So basically, it was Jade with the Jaded. Hopefully, that's the name. They're still using on to Dakota, and just like that, it was over. Now, our next match is the WWE Intercontinental Championship. Sami Zayn taking on Gunther. So this was going to be a very interesting match. Now, Gunther, he's been a dominant champion for a long time, and you know for a fact he would do whatever it takes to put a punishment onto Sammy to prove that what he says, that he was right, that he doesn't believe in it. But however, Sammy did get help from Chad Gable, who's been his coach, helping him out and show him that he needs to find his inner spirit, his inner strength, and that's exactly what he did. He gave, you would have assumed that somehow Gunther would have had the opportunity. It did not go according to him because it was the big boot onto his face on the corner side that put him away at least twice, allowing for Sammy 1, 2, 3. Just like that, he becomes our new Intercontinental Champion. And not to mention, he greeted his wife and son, finally telling that he finally did it and he brought home the gold. So we're very happy for him. I think many fans are happy for him too. So we'll see where this leads us from here now. And I think many fans are asking, okay, what's next for Gunther? If I was a betting man, I would say take the next logical step. Either the WWE World Heavyweight Champion or the Undisputed Championship, whatever he decides. So we'll see. Our next match, we have a bit of a pickle on this type of match. Cody Rhodes teaming with Seth Rollins taking on The Rock and Roman Reigns. Now, here's the interesting pickle I'm talking about. If The Rock and Roman Reigns win the match, that means it's bloodline rules for Cody. So basically, the bloodline can do whatever they want, however they want, and there's no escaping that. As you know, The Rock wants to put an end to this finish your story that he thinks is a load of crap. But this match was so brutal. Not to mention, they did everything in their power to try to pick up the win, but nothing goes their way. Not to mention The Rock getting in the face of the ref. But unfortunately, in the end, it was, of course, the people's elbow that finished off Cody and won the match. So that means Cody is in a big pickle now on night 2. So the question does tell, how will Cody get out of this? Some people say he does not have a chance in hell, and The Rock will try to ensure that. But we'll see what happens until then. So we'll see what happens on night 2. But for now, I think we'll just end things right here and move on with our news updates. Okay, so welcome to our news update. So we only have one update regarding on the promotion event, so let's talk about that a little bit. West Coast Pro, as you know, for their event on May 18th for the coast, they announced that, of course, the West Coast Pro Championship will be defended. So Kevin Blackwood's challenger for that would be none other than Levi Shapiro. Now, I have seen him wrestle a few times, but it's been a while since I've seen him. But we'll see how that rolls up. Now, let's move on with some interesting developments in the world of pro wrestling. As you know, I have not watched Sakura Genesis by New Japan Pro Wrestling. They just recently announced the Best of the Super Juniors is coming back, and names have been announced, like the ones who will be participating. But 4 new names have been added for this year's Best of the Super Juniors. Let me pull that up for all of you, so that way we know who will be participating. Now, of course, it's no secret. Sho will be participating. I just hope he doesn't win it because he tried to act like he's the best. We do have Ryusuke Taguchi, El Desperado, Kevin Knight, Yo, Hiromu Takahashi, Bushi Titan, TJP, Francisco Akira, Doiki, Robbie Eagles, Taiji Ishimori, Yoshinobu Kanemaru, Clark Connors, and Jilla Maloney. Now, 4 new names have been added for this year, and they are Kosei Fujita, Ichiban's sweet boy, representing TMDK. Coming from the independents here in the States, Blake Christian. So I'm going to presume that there is the possibility he will be dropping the GCW title this coming Sunday. We do have, coming from Noah, Ninja Mac and Hayata. So that's going to be an interesting treat. Now, it's no secret that we have been seeing wrestlers from Noah making their appearances. I know some of you probably would ask me, AJ Rod, how come no All Japan Junior Heavyweights? I mean, yes, I would love to see guys from the All Japan, but due to the circumstances that have been going on in their organization, I don't think that's going to be possible now. So who knows? But we'll see where that leads. Now, as you know, I mentioned during the Stand and Deliver event by NXT, Giulia was there present. So there were a lot of people that are concerned, especially the hardcore Giulia fan base. Now, as you know, it's no secret that WWE has been known in the past when they take in talent from either promotions from Japan or anywhere in the world, or mostly the independents, that they cut down their move sets. As you know, Giulia has some stiff strikes. However, it was later foretold by Fightful Select that they're going to let her use those stiff strikes. So possibly there is no chance of any headbutts. So it would make absolute sense. Now, other reports are coming in regarding of Giulia. Giulia will be reporting to the Performance Center once her commitments in Japan are done. Now, don't forget, she will be helping Rossi Ogawa to launch his new promotion, and we know that she'll be participating in Pro Wrestling Noah's event next month on May 4th for Wrestle Magic. So I'm looking forward to that. Now they haven't announced if she'll be wrestling someone like Great Sakuya, but we just don't know yet. But I'll be sticking around for that one. I'll be staying close to that. Now, our next one, as you know, our final development. I mentioned this in a previous news update. As you know, Yoshi wrestler Ibuki Hoshi has announced that she'll be taking a leave of absence due to the found out that she is pregnant, and this resulted of her to relinquish her Ice Infinity Championship because of it. Now, I did mention this before. I asked myself, what does Tsukasa Fujimoto has to say? Now, some of you may think, why is that important? Simple. Fujimoto has known Ibuki Hoshi since she was a little girl. There was pictures of her where, of course, Fujimoto taught her how to ride a bike, and then when, of course, Fujimoto had a child of her own, she tells her, now you have to teach her child how to ride a bike. But now it's like that's going to be a little different now that Ibuki is going to be a mother herself. But what does Fujimoto has to say? Well, this is what she tweeted. When I was told that I had something to talk about, I saw how upset Grandma Hamu was next to me, and was a realized that it was no joke. I was so surprised that Ibuki was next. I can't believe Ubi-chan has become a mommy friend. Congratulations, Grandma Hamu. I'm looking forward to your first grandchild. Life is interesting. So yeah, so basically Fujimoto has been very close to the Hoshi family. Of course, I did say that she known Ibuki since she was a little girl, taught her how to ride a bike, and now she's surprised to find out that this little sweet little girl that she has known for many years has grown up and is now going to become a mom. So life, it is interesting because not too long ago, as you know, Fujimoto did have a child of her own about a year ago, and I think her daughter should be one now. So life is interesting to see how this little sweet girl that Fujimoto knows is now grown up. So we'll see how things will progress, but it's no telling when Ibuki will be making her return. As you know, they have to give more attention to the child. It's like we'll be seeing in pro wrestling in any continent or country in the world. So we'll see about that. So I think that's it for now, what we have for our news updates. So I think it's time to call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Coming up, hopefully I get to see Night 2 of WrestleMania. Now, I haven't seen AEW Collision and Sakura Genesis. I would have loved to seen Sakura Genesis a lot earlier, but I was unable to do so. Basically, that is my fault due to my um, regular day job, so I will try to do that on the next episode. Now, there's still some wrestling shows I haven't seen throughout the entirety of course, WrestleMania week, such as the GCW shows that we had, like Bloodsport, GCW versus the World, and other locations. There are other shows I'm also looking forward, but I'm not sure if I'll be able to see them. But we will see about that when the day comes. But as of for now, the possibility of having, oh yeah, and I did have two Choco Pro shows I haven't reviewed yet. So basically, I'm a bit behind. So I may have to catch up throughout this coming week and see how this one rolls up. So at the moment, this is what the plan is, and we will move forward from there. So until then, I will see you guys on the next DWZ time, same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So goodbye, and have a nice day. Bang.